I've kept my marriage a secret from my mom for over a decade.
Well, maybe she's not nice.
Now, when we made the announcement of our family engagement, our families were super excited, but especially my mother.
Okay, it's positive so far. She's excited for your engagement.
She claims to be a very family-oriented person. I was really looking forward to this bonding experience with her. I was approaching my late 20s, and I was still under the illusion that maybe if we planned my wedding together, she would start treating me better in our relationship. Maybe she would finally see me as the individual adult that I am.
Seems like wishful thinking.
Now, her and I had a very difficult time in my early childhood due to certain romantic partners my mother dated and her recklessness with money. Sounds like not a winning combination.
Eee.
She also severely bullied me from childhood and the teen years all the way up to just a few years ago. I'm 39 years old as of this post.
Why is she bullying her own child?
So I was gaslit into thinking that was just completely normal. I thought that all mothers were supposed to be extremely tough on their daughters, even if they said the coldest, cruelest things.
Aww.
Even if they were untrue things that were said, they're true now because she said so, and that I'm a liar by nature. Bad children burn in.
Oh my goodness.
Okay, we're getting a very clear taste of what this mom is saying.
The Grinch pre him having his heart grow?
The tension of planning our wedding first began just a week after the announcement. My mom would randomly call me on the weekend to discuss things like catering and flower arrangements, which you would think would be all nice and dandy. On one of the phone calls, she cussed me out because she wanted to serve barbecue and Brunswick stew.
To give you guys an idea of what Brunswick stew is, it's a hearty tomato-based stew typically made with a combination of meats and vegetables. It often includes chicken, pork, or small game, along with various vegetables like lima beans, corn, potatoes, and okra.
So it's just kind of like an everything stew?
Yeah, quite a combo.
Pretty much. And barbecue sauce and ketchup are commonly added for flavor.
I was already escalating now. To myself, I found it incredibly odd that she knows that I absolutely despise Brunswick stew. I have to be in the mood for barbecue. It's not something that I usually choose to eat. She didn't even try to ask what we wanted. She just called us all selfish for wanting different food choices. When it all came to planning the decor, and keep in mind, again, I believe this is her wedding dinner.
Yes.
When it came to planning the decor, I wanted an enchanted forest, a fairy tale theme.
I like.
Very cute. I had a Pinterest board with ideas that were all really good to go. I thought she would be proud of me for being prepared. My husband and I absolutely loved Lord of the Rings, the books and the movies.
Yeah. It's my type of wedding.
We like that. We did not want to do a cosplay type wedding. We just wanted to borrow from the aesthetic of the movie. Not that there's anything wrong with cosplay weddings, mind you. She was set on having a country western mason jar burlap barn wedding.
Which kind of makes sense with the Brunswick barbecue kind of food.
It all goes to hurt the mom's theme.
Yeah, for the mom's theme, it makes sense.
Everyone's saying it's very common in like the South, Georgia, Virginia. This all makes sense.
Yeah. It's just like, we're going to have a country wedding.
Okay.
Mason jar wedding.
There's going to be Brunswick stew and mason jars. Then the Brunswick stew is going to be in the mason jars.
Cute, but not what OP wants.
Exactly.
Mother. Now, this is when I really had to start masking my anger. I'm hyper aware that her and I have opposite tastes, and there's nothing inherently wrong with that. I'm the type of person who really loves reading fantasy novels, manga, and watching animated and horror movies / shows. I am a big time nerd, goth, and dang proud of it.
Big Time Rush.
Tell them. Dude, shout out to them. It wasn't even that she didn't like the Lord of the Rings. She adores those movies and had a great time watching them with the whole family when they came out. So it was very confusing as to why I was having so much pushback. I was so desperate for a connection with her that I ignored our past. In my preteen and teen years, I was not allowed to express myself in any way because my mother was convinced that my interests were goth trash.
She's like, you want a Lord of the Rings wedding? It's disgusting.
My mother was convinced that my interests were goth trash and it was only for crappy artists, weirdos, users, and it would turn me attracted to the same gender or gender diverse people, and then I'd never be able to get anywhere in life.
Aren't you actively getting married to like a man?
I would be a shame and embarrassment to the family. Joke's on you. I'm non-binary. Hey! So it worked. Let's freaking go. Oh, man. So she would not listen to any of our suggestions and would purposefully talk over me, cut me off, or just flat out scream. Tasteful. She would also tell me how juvenile and classless our choices were. She said my lavender and my husband's choice of cream wouldn't mesh well together. How I have no eye for this type of event planning. I was used to my mom being like this. I was shrugging things off while boiling inside. I thought if I just kept pushing gently, we would eventually come to some sort of understanding. As I originally opened my story with my cousin Gigi's wedding, this is where reality came crashing upon me. We had an absolutely magnificent time.
Woo!
It was a beautiful venue. The food was delicious, and my cousin looked like a princess. I was ecstatic for her. So this is cousin Gigi's wedding, I believe. Everyone was stacking on compliments to my mother because she was the matron of honor and helped Gigi plan every little thing. Apparently, they really enjoyed planning it together, which I thought was a good sign. I had gone to the restroom and I ran into my mom. We were the only people in there. We were washing our hands in the sink, and I smiled really big, turned to her and said, "You did an amazing job with Gigi, and I really look forward to what we could do together with my wedding."
I really look forward to working with you in the future.
Yes. Now, as I went out of the bathroom, I felt her grab my upper left arm, and she squeezed hard, slightly digging in her long acrylic fingernails. And she pulled me close to her face and said, "You and your fiance just show the F up and shut up. I'm planning everything. This is not about you. This is not about him. This is my day."
So see, we've just figured out why giving your mom control of any part of your wedding is a bad idea. Because now she thinks that it's about her.
I stood there alone, shaking. I had to hide and cry alone and fix my makeup before returning to the reception. When I told my fiance what had happened, he was seriously taken aback. He has an extremely loving mother, so this chilled him to the bone. He was like, "How in the heck does a mother feel like that, especially when you're such a wonderful, loving person?"
Ooh. OP grew despite their mother.
Now it finally dawned on me. Why would I let someone who has had 2 divorces, a broken engagement from the guy that cheated on her last husband with, wow, that's a story we got to read, and now a rebound husband give me advice on anything?
That is the question of the hour.
Yes.
The question I think is on all of our minds.
We came up with a plan together.
Ooh.
Mm-hmm. My fiance and I lied to my mother, telling her that we were just too stressed about planning a wedding and that we were just happy how we are and that we're in love, and that is good enough. She didn't get angry. She said that she was happy not to have to spend the money and that she respected my decision. For years to come after this decision, quote unquote, she would hold it over my head in front of family that every cousin was getting married except for me. During all of this, I have a very close friend who is about to move to Oregon. Oh, I didn't know we would see each other in person again. We had known each other since high school, and I really wanted him to be at our wedding. He was like the brother I never had. He had also become very good friends with my fiance, so he wanted him there too. So we started planning a backyard wedding so we could get everyone together without the stress of travel and money.
I think they're planning a secret wedding right now.
That weekend, we met up at our favorite Chinese restaurant with my fiance's family and talked about things that my mother had done. They agreed to keep it a secret from my family because I did not plan on inviting her. I couldn't invite anyone else in my family because they adore her and think that she's an amazing mother. They wouldn't want to believe the reality of the situation. My fiance's family are the greatest people I've ever known. They sat with me, listened, and cried with me, feeling my pain and supporting everything. They happily kept everything off of social media and blocked her on everything. Everyone officially hates my mom too.
Nice.
Woo! Cheers to hating mom, I guess.
Solidarity.
There we go. My longtime friends since high school were eager to support me. They are my ride or die gang. I did not break a single sweat about having a non-traditional wedding because I'm an incredibly non-traditional person. It didn't have a lot of decorations, but the food was scrumptious. The company was immaculate. The weather was perfect. The justice of the peace was such a kind woman and conducted the ceremony. I felt absolutely ethereal and gorgeous in my black satin wedding dress and purple ombre hair.
Aw, very fun.
We got married the day before Halloween, and it was truly the happiest day of my life.
Nice.
After everything was said and done, I started keeping my mother at arm's reach, going lower contact a little more each year, and going to therapy.
Nice.
I found out things between her and I were a heck of a lot worse than I thought. That can happen.
Not nice.
Not nice. She also had hidden my autism diagnosis from me for over 20 years.
Like she found it and then was like, oh, put that away.
I found out from one of my other cousins who overheard a wasted confession at a family party. Wow.
Wait, like your mom's wasted confession was that you have autism? She's like,
at a family party.
I didn't know to tell my daughter or my child has autism.
You can listen to full episodes that have stories. I know. Just like this. I'm sorry I've kept it from you. It's on Apple, Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts. You just have to search OK Storytime, Sophia. There, I said it. So last year was our 10th wedding anniversary.
Wow.
Flash forward epilogue.
Secretly, though.
Secretly. I also went no contact with my mother right after Mother's Day of that year.
Dang.
Everything was extra special. For our wedding anniversary, we went to an Airbnb that looked exactly like a Hobbit house.
Love that.
Fire. It was absolutely incredible. That was one of the happiest days of my life. And in the future, we plan to renew our vows, and she wouldn't be invited to that either.
Nice.
Thank you for sticking with me through this crazy ride. Thank you for your time. So, am I the a-hole, Sophia?
Truthfully, I think no. I think you kind of answered the question that we were asking of, when does it end? And it seems like you just kind of slowly went no contact. So you never really had to tell her that you had a wedding.